How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lo4f, and today got another one of the Stage 2 contracts. This one's called Stone Pit, and yeah, you got to go and get 4 lots of drilling spare parts, which you have to build at that warehouse that's like at the top of the map. And then as well, at the same warehouse, there's a service trailer, so you got to take both of them. As you can see in the top right, both missions are sort of there, or both parts, so it's not like Stage 1 and Stage 2. You could theoretically do them whichever order you want, but yeah, I'm attempting to take them both at once. Yeah, down to a little stone quarry pit thing going on the right hand side of the map. And then for this one, I'm guessing by now, well, by the time you're watching this, not now anyway, I would have probably done a thumbnail of the Navistar. Basically, I wanted to take this as the Tatra Force. When it came out in Season 6, I wasn't a massive fan of it at first, but then it was basically just objectively a worse version than the Phoenix, though it had nothing better going for it. It was slower in every regard, etc. And it felt really gutless and weird, but even to the point where they realised something was up, because they did a patch, and after that, it felt pretty decent on Season 6. Like, again, I still would have gone for the Phoenix regardless. I didn't realise until I was setting off about now that it's got the like the advanced special gearbox, stuff like that. Just looking, it's got super wank sped. It's a start. Yeah, I don't know why, for whatever reason, I just assumed that I'd have a high range gearbox, and then when I was setting off in the garage, I thought, oh, this is a bit slow, but it must be that patch of mud at the garage. And yeah, kept going, dropping it in high gear. Then I thought, oh, it must be wheels spinning in high gear, and yeah, it's suddenly, I should have noticed quicker really, because there's the 3 low range gears. And again, wasn't anything particularly against this truck, as in it's not doing terrible, it is ploughing along, like it is in the advanced special set of gears, so if I was in a Colob now or something like that, I don't think that would particularly be exactly lighting up the track either. But I'm just going to drive a little bit ahead, and then yeah, it just dawns on me that, do you know what, I don't want to drive this slow all the way around this mission, just to the point where I could already tell that the limiting factor was going to be just that this isn't going that fast. I was very tempted now. You see there's a goddamn horse of a vehicle to the right of me. Could have just switched over to Phoenix and Lo4f. Pretty tempting, but like I say, I like to use different trucks if I can, and while I've actually got the map and the missions to do, I'll just keep trying to go through vehicles that I've not used before. If it comes down to a certain mission where I really like, I just know that a certain truck like the Zik 605R or whatever is going to be the best, I'll do it. But yeah, if it's these generic missions, which again I don't mind, it's a shame they didn't add another 20 or 30 generic missions to this map that's just, you know, take this from A to B. It would have been, yeah, a bit more content. So, long story short, you can see I pulled over. It's like, nope, I'm done. That's it for me. Yeah, got Stevie Wonder out, the Navistar, and well, you can tell because when things are going well in the Navistar, you can't see the truck. It's partly how I got its name. And obviously, we've got a Lo4f of them. It's a part-time Lo4f. So yeah, and already I'm in high gear. This thing's motoring along. I took a little bit of trollish damage there, but I can say in hindsight now it wasn't really an issue going around this map. Obviously the map's a little bit on the trollish side, but the thing is with the advanced special gearboxes, and just there might be the odd exception. Justin was saying in the comments that the fine-tuned high gear is not that bad. It's not quite as fast as the high-range high gear, but it's certainly faster than the off-road one. It's just that, yeah, on this map you need a certain amount of momentum, or it's preferable anyway, just so you're actually, like, you have, yeah, the momentum and inertia and pace to kind of get through. Almost imagine it a little bit like when you hear about speedboats and that, or whatever, going through the water, and they talk about getting up onto the plane or whatever it is, where it's like the boat now pretty much lifts out the water and there's practically no friction or anything, nothing like what it normally is, and it gets motoring along. It's a little bit like that in this game. If you're always in the advanced special or whatever, whether it's the high, the auto, or the lows, obviously you can do it. Yeah, you've just never quite got enough. There's always just enough resistance with the map to constantly slow you down. And then if you add on top of that, for whatever reason, most things seem to be coded. Killed a tree there, by the way. I was pretty happy about that. It made me stall, but It was worth it. The trees are a little bit sticky. Not sure why. Don't look at me. Something in the Super Wank's bed. Yeah, I've killed a few trees since this season, and I've just noticed when you drive over them, for some reason they hook onto your chassis quite a lot. But yeah, there's a lot of areas in the map just really will not let you get out of first gear. Once you're in auto gears, it just forces you to stay in first gear. You can hear the engine's not revving anywhere near enough. You can mash L1 as much as you like, it'll never let you jump up the gears. And yeah, that in that sense, you just get forced to be in first gear, and that still comes back to, like, if I'm going to be in first gear, I'd rather have the highest ratio set of gears. And then, as you can see as well, once I can get into high, and the Navistar is pretty lenient for getting into high, particularly when you're just sort of on your own like this. Got a goddamn horse, but like I said, he's weightless unless he needs to be. Yeah, but I've not got a trailer. I used to drive this Navistar a lot. This was the vehicle. Well, for the first 2 or 3 days, I just used the normal vehicles because I pre-ordered the game, and you were supposed to get the Navistar as a pre-order bonus. I have no idea how, what, why, how you're supposed to get the Navistar as the pre-order bonus, but I pre-ordered the game, got the game, and I didn't get the Navistar. I could have sent an email on that, but it was like £1.59 or 89 or something in the PS Store, and to be honest, I was like, oh, I'll pay myself £2 not to write a fucking email, if you know what I mean, and then I'll treat myself to a Navistar. I just couldn't even, it wasn't even worth the time and effort. The amount of time it'll take me to write an email and then wait for a reply, it's just, yeah, it was cheaper to just buy the bloody thing again. But yeah, I used to use this quite a lot. Usually had the crane on it as well and towing the ramped flatbed. God help us. Yeah, back in the day. The thing is, as well, I will say with the Navistar, if you have the crane on though, you can't put the saddle low on. And at the minute, it doesn't make much difference because he's got goddamn horse. I've got the winch from the front of the Navistar to the loaf, so it's just... And you can see the 2 exhausts. His nose just kind of sits between that, and because the winch is only of like a certain length, he can't bounce his way out of like the little exhaust cradle. And on top of that, that's what I was going to say, is the saddle on the back just kind of sits in the middle on the chassis of the loaf and just kind of holds in there like a little pedestal or something. It's pretty good. He knows what he's doing. But yeah, just far more enjoyable. I could put my foot down a little bit. I know once I get here I've got to get trailers and all that. I knew it was going to slow down, but see, this is the thing. Worst case, this isn't going to travel along in high gear all the time, but the yeah, that Tatra Force sort of never will. And again, I'm not necessarily hating on it. I just already knew, like, nah, there's too much of a nice long drive around the map to just be forced to go that slow. But that's kind of why I pulled over in the end, because yeah, I'll use it for a different mission. There'll be a mission that's a little bit on the shorter side, maybe a little bit more, well, heavy hauling. I don't know how great the Tatra Force is at heavy hauling, but could always give it a go. So yeah, got to this yard, and then now I've got to do the usual steps. I edit most of it out. We've got to connect up to the generator to remember to turn that on. I need 4 drilling spare parts for this. I can't remember off the top of my head how much they cost when you build them in the warehouse bit, which I'll be doing in a minute. Then I had to get a trailer. That's what I was going to say though. I'm just refilling the generator up to full because whatever cargo I'm about to build costs fuel, and yeah, instead of being able to build 3 and then I've got to go back around and refuel it just to build 1 more and all that, I'll just get it done quicker. And then again, bit of editing, but after that I did a ramped flatbed, reversed up to it so I could reverse the loaf off the Navistar onto the flatbed, and then got a low whatever, I can't even remember what this trailer's called. Yeah, and as you can see, drove the loaf onto this trailer. It was either that or bring a, well again, if I brought a crane I wouldn't be able to have the saddle trailers, I'd have to bring that ramped flatbed, and I could have done it with a ramped flatbed because I only need 4 lots of cargo, but in all honesty, it does my head in, and yeah, when I finally realised, oh, technically I can just use this trailer, I've got a little loaf seat at the front of the trailer, it's like, he deserves it. And yeah, I can have 4 cargo, I can have 5, but I only need 4. It's just the fact that this thing's attached to the saddle, so it doesn't boat around side to side, it's not constantly trying to make you tip. It's not really weighted ridiculously. The only thing I will say, it's probably, you could say, a little bit with the Navistar as well, because it's not got the biggest tyres in the game, and it's not, you know, like, crazy off-road setup. This reminds me of like a highway truck you'd see in America that has then just been done up for the army to have like more serious kit on it. But yeah, it's not really designed from the ground up to be a full-on off-roader. But this trailer does sit fairly low, and obviously this map, there's quite deep ruts in the roads and all sorts, so it gets to the point where you're barely hovering like above the road, even when you just sort of sat there as normal. But again, if you put this trailer on something like the Zix 605R, if you can, I can't remember if that has a saddle low. Yeah, but it's going to sit higher. It'll help a little bit. There's a terrible reversing job there. Even as I started reversing, I knew, I was like, I've gone too early. Yeah, that's what she said. Yeah, it was terrible. I just flung a winch out. I mean, that idea still worked. It's pretty shocking with the old reversing. It should have been a lot better as well, because with a saddle, like, these trailers are a piece of piss to reverse by comparison. Well, the ramped flatbeds are practically impossible to reverse. You might get lucky here and there, but they have no rhyme or reason, or there's not really anything you can do to influence them. They're just maniacs, and yeah, best avoided. So you can see now it's making me go a little bit slower. I mean, this truck, I've got the chained on, but it's is it the off-road? I believe it's the off-road version of the chain, so you can't get the mud chained on this. And like I said, you can on a few American trucks, but I'm pretty sure it never lets you, like with this kind of truck where it's got the twin rear wheels, like twin sort of tyres though, per axle, it just never gives you the option really to have, like, the muds would always come in at like a single option at the back, and yeah, it just won't let you have it in this case. And overall, I mean, these tyres aren't bad. People say in the comments and that the off-road tyres are pretty decent, and I remember I've used them on various vehicles. I'm not necessarily disagreeing, but again, I like my chained, so that's what I'm using. See, and at the minute, it's not really strictly that I haven't got the power to get in high. This is where I've always liked the Navistar, because it's always had a nice bit of power. It also feels weighted nice, and I don't know, yeah, it gets up to speed nice. I really like the high range gear in it. I believe once, I certainly never would have guessed it or whatever, I'm certain once I accidentally did a Jeff special in this Navistar way back, like, I don't know, the first week the game came out. I just remember hitting a dip, and I'm sure I launched it, and I was like, bloody hell. And then I never did it again, never, like I say, didn't have any inkling that the old Jeff special was a thing until, yeah, Jeff said it months later. But I do believe I might have accidentally done it on, like, the first week. But then I've tried Jeff special in this since, and it ain't that easy to do, so I don't know, but I certainly remember it. I think I even mentioned it in a video, but I kind of hit a dip in the road on Black River. It was sort of near when you're driving past the farm. And it just kind of landed nicely in a dip, and as I floored it into high gear, it just went like shit off stick, like a drag car. Yeah, the thing is though, this has got enough power in theory that I could get up to second, third gear and then put it in high gear, but like I said, the map just is coded like it won't let me get out of first gear, which then makes it kind of impossible to get into high gear at the minute. It's probably not the end of the world. I don't think high gear would fare too well through here, not even strictly the truck. These sort of areas with the boggy mud, yeah, they have a habit of just stopping stuff dead really. But I don't really mind, because even though it caps the revs and all sorts, this truck isn't really bad for capping the revs. But again, the map section appears to have a separate like rev cap going on. Even at the low end though, this just has enough torque and that it never feels like this truck's really throwing in the towel too easily. Even though I am crawling now, I'd rather crawl than just be stuck, you know, kind of like all or nothing. Yeah, this will do, especially in the terrain at the minute. I've been up and down here quite a few times now, and I sort of know this is a little bit of a trollish, slow section. So you can hear me sort of mashing out, yeah, L1, but it won't do it. And to be fair, that service trailer I'm towing behind me, that practically weighs nothing. It's like a bag of crisps floating around on the back. In fact, I should try and fly one like it. Or have I tried to fly a service trailer? Yeah, I must have. There's one in the sea at the end of White Valley anyway. Must have happened at some point. The Scout fuel trailers, they're still the best to fly. Well, the Lo4f. The Lo4f was the most fun to fly when I got the, Fox's Roadrunner. Flew the Lo4f like a goddamn beauty. See, now I'm going downhill with the wind behind me. The game kind of has no choice. I was able to stick it in high gear. And again, this truck just has a nice pace when you're in high gear. It's certainly pretty smoky, and you can generally get the truck to vanish like so. Apologies, there must have been a tiny little glitch there. A right nice view going over that bridge as well. Typical, it has to glitch that one a little bit. Yeah, the smoke, I don't know. Is it like once you've been going for 5 or 10 seconds, it seems to calm down now. It's more when you let off the throttle and then you floor it again. Or now, maybe when I've changed down the gears. But as I said, it's one of them trucks where you don't need to see where you're going. You just imagine where you're going, and you're probably going that way. Like I said, if you can't see your truck, it means good things are happening, because there's enough smoke going to obscure it. And yeah, like I say, it's part of the reason why it got called Stevie Wonder, because we all can't see fuck all when we drive it. Seems reasonable. At points, by the way, I wasn't paying the most attention possible. To be fair, my cat didn't really appear while I was getting the footage for this time. I kind of got the footage a little bit earlier than usual. Sort of snuck up on him. You see, there's so much smoke. Even my cat couldn't see what was going on. He didn't know to interrupt me. He's a beast though. That's the thing. I don't just ignore him. That's why it's inconvenient when he turns up. I don't just ignore him and carry on playing. It's like, fine, pause the game or put the remote down. Now I've got to save the footage. Now it's more editing. If only he knew. But that's part of the reason why things like I don't go online on games as much. Like Call of Duty was probably the only exception where the only nice thing about Call of Duty is pretty impersonal when you're online. So worst case you can pull out of a lobby. But yeah, if my cat turns up, it's like, right, I'll be there in a minute. Just let me finish shooting a few people. You're on for a few more minutes and you're done. Then you can just pull out the lobby. But that's another reason why I never really... I was always solo on Call of Duty. Never really went online on Grand Theft Auto. Don't really go online on this. Not just my cat, but it's... I don't know. I might want to go make a coffee, all sorts. And I don't like to keep saying to people, oh, you know, just... Can you give me a minute? I'm just going to go make a coffee and I'm going to go for a piss and all my cats turned up and all sorts of stuff. That's why I like to play with myself. She said, of course. Yeah, now the trailer had to be a dick at some point. It was bound to happen. And yeah, it tipped. Not really sure why. Thankfully, it's not... One, it's not that ruthless for just getting it to tip back to its wheels. I certainly, by now, I should just disconnect it, really. Another nice thing, it's kind of got winch points all around it, just above where the tyres are. There's one right at the front corner, you know, one a little further along and all sorts, so... You just got to stick a winch on one of the side bit. In fact, I think coming up pretty shortly is a pretty good example of it. But yeah, I just, through sheer stubbornness, I was just seeing if I keep dragging it, you know, how long will it take? And I kind of dragged it over those signs and it sort of got it back to its wheels. Now, this is on me, I wasn't even looking. It was about now I looked back at the TV. I was trying to choose a YouTube video, just something to listen to while I was driving, and yeah. Didn't go well. So I did the quit and reload method. This is now back a little bit. The reason I just cut the footage, where I got the trailer to tip back to its wheels, when I quit and reloaded, I dragged it again, but it didn't tip back to its wheels. So it was a little bit of a slower drive to that rock where the footage just started, and this is where I just rolled it a minute ago. And if you see, I didn't, like the Navistar didn't roll in the end. Just as I looked back, I steered kind of hard right into it, and I didn't fully tip, but the cargo tipped, and yeah, it's just one of them. It's like, I haven't got a crane with me, I can't really be arsed going to get a vehicle. Again, if the cranes all worked fine, I'd be like, that'd be perfect excuse. Just like, cool, I'll go and get, I don't know, a Voronggrad with a little crane, and I'll zip along here, and yeah, but I just know it'll troll me so much that I'm not even going to give the game the satisfaction of making me spend half an hour just so I can have a shitty broken crane experience at the end of it. And again, I still like the quit and reload method, because I basically just get to rewind 30 seconds to a minute and attempt it again, which out of my own curiosity is like, I'm happy to have a crash and rescue everything and carry on, but yeah, from a curiosity standpoint, I also want to see, right, how do I get through that bit without tipping, like what would be, and as far as making a video as well, I can then say to you guys, like yesterday's a good example where I kept going over those rocks, and in the end I said, yeah, just swerve off to the left here and cut these rocks out. If I just never did the quit and reload method, at that point I'd basically be saying, yeah, crash here, then get a crane, then restack everything, and then carry on. So I like to yeah, kind of find the most efficient way, see what's going on, have a bit of useful info to provide with a video. But yeah, we got here, and as I say, got like the cargo and the trailer, the service trailer, so I don't need to go back. When I did this in the live stream, I just did the cargo, and I was supposed to do both the trailers at the same time. I just forgot because I was yapping away and all sorts, and then yeah, it was when I got here, I was like, oh yeah, I've got to now go all the way back. And at this point I was winching it, so I was going to make the trailer try and roll into this yellow box. To be honest, knowing what I know now, I should have just carried on. But then I stopped anyway, because I figured it won't accept the trailer. I thought it's probably going to force me to attach it to the truck. Apologies there, by the way, the footage just glitched. I'm not really bothered, because all I literally did was attach trailer and then drove forward, I don't know, half a truck length until the trailer touched the yellow square, and then it automatically took the trailer and completed the mission. Yeah, 420 XP. It's called Stone Pit. It's a nice little joke from them. But yeah, that's about it for today though. I hope you enjoyed, I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Thanks to my Patreon members. Get yourself a loaf because he's a beast, and Navistar, it's pretty cool. And yeah, I'll be back soon.